Good evening, everyone. Mike Palmer from Know Your Rights Group and Success Coaching International with another very important live video update tonight. So the special bonus video that I did on Sunday night has been viewed almost 40,000 times across our various social media platforms, and it has generated a lot of discussion, which is absolutely fantastic because, of course, that was the whole point of me doing that video, to show how certain people doing certain things could get people thinking, talking, and then hopefully acting. And that is how we, the people, can all band together and turn around this current insane situation that we all find ourselves in at the moment. So I'm going to expand on some of those points that I raised on Sunday, as well, of course, Trump continues to make waves around the world. We spoke on Tuesday night's radio show about the very important role that NATO. A lot of people still don't understand the significance of NATO in this whole Ukraine war. So perhaps if you're one of those people, or maybe if you know somebody who is, please be sure to listen to Tuesday night's podcast, because we did cover that whole point in quite a lot of detail. Now, we also spoke about how Trump has paused all funding to the Ukraine, obviously as a result of the heated meeting that he had with Zelensky last weekend. And just today, Trump has also paused the sharing of all intelligence with the Ukraine as well. So this is another very significant step that he has taken. So I'm going to go through this quickly. Trump administration pauses flow of intelligence to Ukraine that helps on battlefield. The US has paused its intelligence sharing with Ukraine, cutting off the flow of vital information that has helped the war-torn nation target Russian invaders. But Trump administration officials on Wednesday said positive talks between Washington and Kiev meant it might only be a short suspension. That, of course, will all depend on how Zelensky reacts. Information about Russia's intentions and military movements has been critical to Ukraine's defence, and a strong indication of support from the US and other Western allies. The suspension came after Trump paused military aid to Ukraine. It was another sign of how he has transformed America's relationship with close allies. We've taken a step back and we are pausing and reviewing all aspects of this relationship, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz said on Wednesday. Comments from top Trump administration officials suggest the decision is part of the broader negotiations between Trump and Ukrainian President Zelensky to negotiate a peace deal with Russia, and that intelligence could begin flowing to Ukraine again soon. CIA Director John Ratcliffe called the suspension just a pause and said it came after the disastrous meeting between Trump and Zelensky in the Oval Office last week. Ratcliffe said Trump wanted to know that Zelensky was serious about peace, and fair enough. On the military front and the intelligence front, the pause that allowed that to happen will go away. I think if we can nail down these negotiations and move towards these negotiations and, in fact, put some confidence-building measures on the table, then the president will take a hard look at lifting this pause. We have to know that both sides are sincerely negotiating towards a partial, then permanent peace. And again, absolutely nothing wrong with that. Okay? Look, I personally think this is another really great strategy by Trump to genuinely seek peace, especially after Zelensky tried to railroad Trump and Vance on international TV. Anywhere in between, I think everybody would agree that the goal of peace and an actual true end to the war is an important one, and anything that Trump or anyone else can do to make that happen is definitely a step in the right direction, and it does go to show how serious Trump is about achieving peace, despite what Zelensky tried on just last weekend. Now, of course, our useless leader here, good old Albo Sleazy, instead of trying to create peace and all the rest of it, he instead wants to send Australian troops to support a war that has absolutely nothing to do with us. Okay? Now, if you've missed this, this is so important. What the hell are we doing getting involved at this level? Anthony Albanese says he's open to sending peacekeeping troops to Ukraine. Anthony Albanese has flagged the prospect of Australians sending peacekeeping troops to Ukraine, declaring he's open to considering any requests for help. The Prime Minister revealed the proposal was under consideration at a press conference in Sydney this morning, but stopped short of saying any final decisions had been made. Well, our position on Ukraine is very clear. We stand with the people of Ukraine and we stand with President Zelensky, he said. Really? Who's the we that he's referring to? Because I know a hell of a lot of people that most assuredly do not stand with Zelensky and do not stand with Ukraine. So I hope he's not speaking on behalf of all Australians when he says that. Now Australia stands ready to assist. Do they? Or is he and his little cronies that feel like they can make some money out of the war, are they the ones ready to assist? Oh, hang on a minute. Speaking of dollars, we have contributed $1.5 billion with $1.3 billion for military assistance. With regard to the US is an important ally of Australia. It's an alliance between our nations. With regard to Australia's foreign policy, Australia determines our foreign policy. Really? Okay. It's in Australia's national interest to stand with Ukraine, and that's what our government is doing. Please explain how it is in Australia's interest to stand with Ukraine. I just don't understand how they can justify that statement. More importantly, though, there is an admission in black and white from our illustrious Prime Minister that despite the soaring cost of living crisis that we're all dealing with here, despite the significant hurdles that Aussies deal with on a day-to-day basis, our government has given billions of dollars to a country that we're not even directly linked to. Okay, I urge you all, please make sure that you keep this at the top of your minds when it comes time to vote at the upcoming federal election. And again, very important, please be sure to refer to our podcast from Tuesday night on the important constitutional distinction between a defence force and a peacekeeping force and what our Commonwealth Constitution actually says in that regard. Now, Albo is clearly, happy to just throw away taxpayers' money, whereas Trump is hell-bent on stopping government waste wherever possible. And again, we covered on Tuesday night's radio show how his Doge program is continuing to reveal billions of dollars of wasted taxpayer funds. And RFK Jr. has just put a stop to a new COVID vaccine deal that's potentially going to cost some pharmaceutical companies millions and millions of dollars. Now, what's even more positive is Trump also recently came out and stated that he was going to stop all federal funding for any schools that required people to get COVID jabs. I mean, these are serious, real world, resolutions to ongoing problems. So here's the article if you missed it, and I just pray that somebody here in Australia has the to do. Trump on Friday signed an executive order halting federal funds for schools that require students to be vaccinated against coronavirus before they can attend classes in person. Trump's administration had already taken steps to end coronavirus vaccine requirements at the federal level, including for green card applicants and reinstated service members who were discharged for refusing the vaccine. The order states that some school districts and universities continue to coerce children and young adults into taking COVID-19 vaccines by conditioning their education on it, and warns that others could re-implement such mandates. It calls for the Secretary of Education, working with the Secretary of Health and Human Services, to provide a plan to end coronavirus school mandates, including a list of federal grants and contracts provided to schools and universities that do not abide by the new executive order. The President was joined at the Oval Office event by members of his cabinet, with Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy saying that the decision to vaccinate should be up to the students' parents. Absolutely. This is what it should be up to either the students themselves or the students and their parents. Okay, I mean, it's really not rocket science. Okay, so again, this is another great victory for the people with common sense and freedom of choice, reigning supreme once again in the US. Let's see it happen here in Australia. Now, of course, here in Australia, by complete contrast, what's happening here? Well, the government is proceeding with a multi-billion-dollar deal to allow people to take new vaccines that once again have not been properly tested. Now, again, I touched on this on Sunday's bonus video, and here is the proof. Here is the actual evidence. Okay, Moderna's mRNA vaccines exempt from scrutiny under Morris-era deal. Health experts voice concerns over a parallel system that comes at the expense of broader societal and consumer perspectives. Australians will be offered respiratory vaccines from next year without the usual assessment that ensures that they are the most effective available at the best possible price under a confidential $2 billion onshore manufacturing deal the Morrison government struck with Moderna. The agreement exempts Moderna's mRNA vaccines from assessment by the Pharmaceutical Benefits Advisory Committee, PBAC, a government memorandum has revealed. The PBAC is comprised of medical experts and is a key step to ensuring government-purchased vaccines are confirmed as the safest and best quality for their required task at a reasonable price. These new vaccines don't have to prove any of that. If this is not an issue for every single person watching this video, I really don't know what is. Under the Moderna deal, the government will pay an undisclosed price for an undisclosed percentage of up to 100 million vaccine doses. This is all about the money, people. The Moderna mRNA vaccine deal was forged during COVID-19 emergency, but has been extended to cover all respiratory vaccines produced onshore and registered through the Therapeutic Goods Administration, including any for influenza and respiratory syncytial virus, RSV. So, I mean, this is what our government, confidential, multi-billion-dollar deals to allow vaccines to be, purchased and passed on to people without all the rigorous testing, without but say that they genuinely care about us and want the best for us when we uncover deals like this. And what are people going to do about it? Everyone just going to sort of shrug their shoulders and go, oh, well, I wasn't going to take it anyway, so it doesn't worry me? Or are people going to actually write to their members of parliament, write to the health minister and say, how dare you allow these deals to go on behind closed doors? Because that's what we need to be doing. This is exactly what I spoke about on Sunday night's bonus video. Moderna has invested over $1 billion in building their mRNA factory here in Melbourne, and they want to fast track their return on investment. And these are the exact corners that get cut in order to achieve that. So again, if nothing else, please make sure that you keep this in mind when the next scare campaign is rolled out and you're offered one of these supposedly safe and effective vaccines. At the end of the day, as I said before, it's all about the money. That is it. Now, speaking of money, have you heard the latest insane revenue-raising plan from the Victorian government? They want to reduce the speed limit on residential streets to get this, just 30 kilometers an hour. I mean, this is just pure insanity. If you missed the article, then I urge you to read it. State's proposal to slash speed limits on residential streets to 30 kilometres per hour. Speed limits on residential streets could be cut to a crawling 30 kilometres an hour in areas frequented by children under a 30-year plan proposed by Victoria's Infrastructure Advisory Body, whatever the hell that is. The draft strategy proposed by Infrastructure Victoria and released every 3 to 5 years mapped out $75 billion in new spending, with 50 priority areas and 43 recommendations as the state continues to rapidly expand its population. Well, how about we cut the population expansion first and foremost, and that'll solve a whole lot of problems straight away. Very simple. A key change proposed in the draft strategy was reducing the speed limit to 30 kilometres an hour in streets heavily populated by children in an effort to reduce the fatality rate on Victorian roads. The proposal revealed about 7 children die on the roads and hundreds are seriously injured every year in suburban streets with a 50 kilometre an hour speed limit. And yes, while that's all very sad, I mean, where does it end? 30 kilometres an hour, 20 kilometres an hour, why not 10 kilometres an hour? This is all about control. It has absolutely nothing to do with safety. People often troll our posts and our videos saying things like, oh, well, it's all good and well that, teaching people about their rights, but what about teaching people about their responsibilities? Well, of course, anyone who's, got our book or ever been to any of our live events, will know that we absolutely focus on both aspects. But of course, when it comes to road safety, no one actually seems to call out the government, on their insane ideas or hold them accountable. I mean, how about we teach kids, okay, not to run out in front of cars, or at least to look twice before crossing the road? Then it really wouldn't matter what the speed limits are. How about better education programs? Okay, I seriously believe that this whole concept of over-governance is one of the biggest issues in our society at the moment. Okay, the government wants to control the masses and change their behaviour, all because of the actions of a very small minority. Whether that's kids who don't look before they cross the road, whether it's transgender people or some minority religious or racial group. Okay, they're all about controlling the masses for the benefit of a very tiny minority. Everyone should just be simply taking responsibility for their own actions without all of this, insane over-governance. And then, if or when someone does actually cause harm or loss, to another person, then there should be significant punishment. Not like what's happening in Victoria with these ridiculous bail laws that people, kids go and steal cars and break into homes and then they get let out 46 times with no accountability either. The whole system is backwards. They punish people and restrict people before they've actually done anything wrong, but the people who are actually out there breaking the law and harming people and scaring people and, and all the rest of it, stealing from people, they've got no accountability. The whole system's backwards. It's ridiculous. What the government fails to realise, or maybe they do realise, maybe it's all by design, is that if everything is completely over-regulated, it actually causes people to take even less responsibility for their actions because they just believe that, the government's going to save me. Okay? And maybe, just maybe, that's what they're actually aiming for after all. Just a thought. Now, if not, then why would they talk about spending $75 billion on road safety when they can't even find the money to fix all of the potholes in the roads, which is clearly a very real danger to motorists and especially motorcyclists, who, by the way, are one of the most overrepresented categories in road fatalities each year. What are they doing about them? I mean, look, I could stand here and speak for the whole night, okay, about how absolutely insane and pointless these, 30-kilometre-an-hour speed limit ideas and everything else are. But the fact remains that these changes, if they were to be passed, okay, will rake in billions of dollars in fines from these artificially reduced limits. And of course, that is all they really care about. Okay. Now, very quickly on that point, it is actually a long weekend here in Victoria this weekend, and also, I believe, in Tasmania. So the revenue raisers will no doubt be out again in force, especially here in Victoria, because of course the police were just awarded their pay deal. So I'm sure they've all been instructed to go out and issue as many fines as possible so they can raise some revenue to help pay for their pay rise. Now, of course, if you don't want to contribute to any of that in any way, please do make sure you grab a copy of that Aussie Speeding Fines book. Okay, read the whole book, but in particular, refer to chapter 3. Okay, that tried, tested and proven 3-step process for successfully challenging all manner of unjust and unlawful fines. As always, you will find a link in the description and also in the comments section. And please, of course, don't forget that the absolute best time to have that book is, of course, before you get a fine, so that you know all of the relevant questions to ask, if you're personally pulled over, or you know exactly how to respond in a very timely manner if you receive a ticket in the mail, anything like that. And that, of course, is what's going to give you the absolute best chance of not having to pay it. Now, whilst we're on the subject of traffic and cars, check out the latest insanity from Bank Australia, who are now no longer offering car loans. This is copied straight off their website. And just listen to the spin that they've put on this rubbish. Bank Australia has ceased car loans for new fossil fuel cars from 2025. We're stepping up to help protect the climate and future generations by actively supporting the shift towards a decarbonised economy. Here are 5 reasons we've stopped providing car loans for new fossil fuel cars. Number 1, cars are key to climate transition. Really? Well, this is what they say. Private passenger cars account for 42% of Australia's transport emissions. What a load of rubbish. I would like to see any evidence that supports that claim. You've got all of these trucks out there on the roads constantly, and they want to claim that passenger cars account for 42%. garbage. And transport is the fastest growing source of emissions in Australia. They don't tell you what a tiny, tiny percentage of everything else that actually is, though, but I'll come back to that. Electric vehicles are a ready-to-deploy technology, so they can be one of the fastest contributors to Australia meeting its climate goals. Oh, wonderful. Number 2, we need to reach net zero by 2035. Impossible, can't be done. To have the best chance of keeping average temperature increase to below 1.5 degrees to help future generations, too late. We need to act urgently. That's why we have the most ambitious net zero target of any Australian bank. Ambitious, all right? It's unachievable. And to reach that 2035 target, we have to pull every lever available. Assisting the transition to electric vehicles is a strategic one to focus on right now. All sounds great until we actually start getting into the nitty-gritty. Number 3, it's the responsible thing to do. Oh, well, yes, you remember that? It was the responsible thing to do to wear the face nappies. And if you didn't walk around with one on, you were being irresponsible. We've been thinking about the carbon impact of car loans since 2004, when we launched our first carbon offset car loan. I mean, have you ever heard a bigger load of crap in all your life? The impact of car loans. If you don't offer a car loan and someone wants to buy a fossil fuel car, they'll just go to one of the other 473,000 lenders that are out there that are happy to lend them the money for it. Do you really think you're achieving anything here? The responsible thing for us to do is ensure that our vehicle lending doesn't lock our customers into a higher carbon emissions and increasingly expensive running costs in the year ahead. Well, go and look up some of the drive.com.au and similar motoring magazines who've done the actual running costs on long distance trips between fossil fuel cars and electric cars, and you'll be shocked. And of course, we have a responsibility to do all we can to protect the planet for generations to come. And then number 4, this is the biggest load of rubbish yet. It's a signal to the market. We chose 2025 because the change to electric vehicles needs to happen quickly. And we believe it can happen as soon as supporting policies and market forces help to bring a greater range of more affordable electric vehicles to Australia. This will include a range of new models at lower prices than are currently available in Australia and second-hand EVs. Yeah, well, you're not wrong there. The second-hand EV prices are well and truly becoming more affordable because nobody wants them. Taking a leadership position on this now will provide momentum to the rapid acceleration in EV transition. What a load of crap. It is all complete. I obviously can't say too much about climate change on this video because of the good old, fact checkers out there. But that aside, any company that thinks that only providing loans for EVs, which have massive carbon manufacturing costs and have massive carbon wastage when their batteries need to be replaced all the time, okay, if they think that that is somehow going to save the planet over and above loans for modern, fuel-efficient, emissions-efficient ICE vehicles, they are either lying to you or they're lying to them. Passenger vehicles are the climate issue rather than commerce in general. I spoke about the trucks, but factories, manufacturing. I mean, look at all those factories in China that are just spewing out CO2 by the truckload. Okay, if the company genuinely thinks that passenger cars here in Australia, rather than what's going on around the world, is a serious climate issue, then that is definitely a company that you should steer well clear of. Now, I truly find it fascinating that this very, very minor bank, Australia Bank, who the hell are they, seems to think that they can have such a big impact on the sales of EVs when the actual large companies out there like, I don't know, AMPOL, for example, are saying completely the opposite. Okay? This is what AMPOL's saying about EVs. Okay? And they're a big fossil fuel company, so it might be worth listening. AMPOL says transition challenging as fuel demand hits record. AMPOL Chief Executive Matt Halliday says securing connections for new electric vehicle charging bays is taking much longer than expected, delaying the rollout of infrastructure that is essential to give consumers the confidence to switch from a traditional vehicle. Halliday said that fuel demand in Australia hit a fresh all-time high despite policy of support for electric vehicles. Halliday said the take-up of electric vehicles in Australia was flat last year at about 7%, while the take-up in New Zealand dropped to 5% from 10% as incentives to buy the cars were removed and a road user charge was introduced. So good to see our friends across the ditch have, got their brains in gear and realising that these EVs are absolutely not the way to go. I mean, look, I absolutely believe that there is a small role for electric vehicles to play, for people who live in, inner city areas, who travel short distances. But as a whole, okay, Australia is simply not set up for EV travel. And those who've got on the bandwagon thinking that they're going to, save the planet when, all these others get on board are going to be sorely disappointed, especially when they realise the true resale value of their vehicles, as a lot of people are already starting to realise. So, again, I know that most of you watching this are not EV drivers, but again, there's more food for thought should you or anyone you know be considering making that change. All right, now just quickly before we finish off, another very quick reminder that our first live event right here in Melbourne is now just 4 weeks away. That's the 4th, 5th and 6th of April. You'll find a link going up in the comments section if you're watching this, of course, on Facebook. If you're watching this on YouTube or BitChute, please do just go to our seminar page. You'll find the relevant links there. And then, of course, the very first of our brand new webinar series is going to be just 4 weeks after that on the 4th of May. So you can find out more about all of those events that we've got planned for the year, what topics we're going to be covering on what particular days, all the rest of it via the links on the seminar page. And again, you'll find that in the description and also in the comments section. Now, please, on that point, as I've said on the last couple of videos, Facebook are now deleting all of our videos after 30 days. So we do urge you to please also follow us either on our BitChute channel or on our YouTube channel. Again, you should find links going up in the comment section. Obviously, if you're watching on BitChute or YouTube, you know where the links are. And just do the like and subscribe thing. Help build that channel and just follow us there, because eventually, it looks like we are going to transition away from Facebook and probably over to YouTube, but until we've built the channel up enough, we can't do that just yet. So do help us make that transition by subscribing to those channels. And once the numbers are bumped up, we know we can safely make that move. All right, finally, as we always do, I'm going to finish off with the latest feedback from some of our members, and of course, some more memes to get everyone thinking. So this was a post that was posted on on one of our last YouTube videos. You can see it all there. And it says, you're amazing. Thanks so much. I've gotten off 2 fines and 1 for my daughter who was on her learners. She was prepared to go to court and a letter was sent back to her saying they'd let her off. Your material is awesome. Thanks. So again, that is that 3-step process, okay, from chapter 3 of that Aussie Speeding Fines book. That's the process. That's the letter that she's referring to there. So again, please make sure you grab that book. Now, this is another one from Kerry Ann, who's sent this through to the Bank Secrets guys, and they passed that on to us. It says, hi, as promised, here's an overview of our 2022-2023 debt collector win. We took a loan to pay for some education and training in 2022. After approximately half the loan was paid, the educator failed to provide the promised education and also refused to honour the money-back guarantee they'd provided in writing. We stopped paying. We also took the education provided at a civil court as we had a written guarantee. So Open Pay, who were the credit provider, sold our debt to Black Collections. We were harassed daily and weekly via phone call, SMS and emails for 3 months. We then exercised letter 1 and 2 from the Bank Secrets book. I also escalated it to AFCA after Black Collections refused to reply to any of our written requests. Black Collections then advised us in email we were no longer owed them any money, literally just out of the blue. I've attached the emails to validate my experience. I'm happy if you want to share snippets of these emails or use them how you need for testimonials or education. I was also contacted last year by ASIC to provide evidence to them against Black Collections for investigation launched against them for their behaviour and practices. Thank you again, Kerry Ann. So, yeah, there's another great testimonial, and that, of course, is in regards to that 4-step process from the Bank Secrets Revealed book. So if you've got any personal loans, credit cards, any unsecured loans, basically, you can use that 4-step process from Bank Secrets Revealed to have that just discharged, written off. There's another example of how that works right there. All right, so some memes. Now, I mentioned this one on Tuesday night's radio show, and there it is to show everyone. So as it says, USA, because money doesn't launder itself. And yes, I think that one makes a lot of sense. Yes, this one too. The evolution of medicine. So you've got the old medical symbol there that we all know very well, of course, morphing its way into the dollar sign, which of course is what modern medicine seems to be all about. Yes, I've been speaking about COVID. I've been speaking about the COVID vaccines. I've been speaking about the next pandemic that they're clearly planning for. So this is another important reminder. Remember when the masses were conditioned to believe that those who refused the jab didn't deserve to dine out, hit the gym, take their kids swimming, play sports, or even keep their jobs to feed their families? Yeah, that happened. And they'd rather you forget. So I'm going to keep making sure that I keep reminding people every so often on these video updates so that nobody ever forgets and nobody ever falls for it again. Yes, our illustrious leader, there he is. Okay, no, not interested in that. No, not interested in that. Oh, yes, but I'll be all up in arms about that. Okay, Chinese warships circling the country having target practice. Yeah, nothing to see here. Cost of living rises by 30% in the past 3 years. Thousands homeless. Awkward. Peter Dutton bought some shares in 2009. Oh, we better investigate that. Let's focus all our attention on that. Okay. Please remember what this absolute muppet is doing come election time, and let's make sure he doesn't even get a look in, let alone any chance of being re-elected. And then finally, I'm going to leave you with this one, and this is one that I definitely urge you to pass around, because these are the sort of memes that are going to get people thinking and hopefully realising what they know and don't know and doing the relevant research that they need. So as it says there, if you can name these people and what they do, good old Beyonce and what's his face, okay, but not this man and what him and his family line have done for 500 years, okay, the good old Rothschilds, okay, then your level of knowledge is exactly where he wants it. Okay, so let's have more people focusing on these crims rather than these muppets, okay, awakening to what's really going on, and then of course once they realise, they can take a stand and push back and stop it from continuing. All right, so I'm going to finish things off there. As always, I do urge you to make full use of Get Fired Up and Get Proactive. There's plenty of completely free information, of course, on our website and the other websites that we recommend. Our radio shows, again, completely free to listen to every second Tuesday. We just had one this week, so there'll be replaying a show next Tuesday rather than a live show. Again, you can join up as a podcast member if you've missed any of our previous podcasts. It's literally less than $5 a week to join up as a podcast member, so it is absolutely affordable to everybody, and we cover such important information that I do urge everyone watching these to please join up as a podcast member as well. If you want to go above and beyond that, of course, we do recommend our Know Your Rights book, the essential step-by-step manual for understanding and exercising your rights. If you want to go above and beyond even that, of course, we do have plenty of other products available. You'll find them on our products and shop pages. We also have our one-on-one coaching sessions available. So again, you'll find a link going up in the comments section. If you want some more personalized help with a specific scenario, we do have those one-on-one coaching sessions available. And of course, I am focusing on my success coaching clients a lot more this year. So if you're interested in a one-on-one personal business life coaching session, just reach out Mike at successcoaching.net.au. There should also be a link going up in the comments to my website. You'll find that also in the description as well. After that, of course, is the Aussie Speeding Fines book for challenging all unjust and unlawful fines. These guys have been around 18 years now, so you know their information absolutely works. And that Bank Secrets book that I mentioned before for discharging all your unsecured loans. You can get these all individually. There's links in the description. You can get them all together as part of the combo pack. You do get the tote bag included as a bonus. Don't forget, we've got our cap still some warm weather. I know everybody up in Queensland is feeling the pinch with the winds and the rain. So to all our friends, family, and of course members who are up in Queensland, especially around the Gold Coast and Brisbane area, our thoughts do go out to you to stay safe over the coming days. I know things are a little bit dicey up there, so do take care if you're up there. I mentioned, of course, before about our live events and our webinars. We do also have our home study course, which is a complete recording of one of the 2.5-day live events. There's 3 custom-made workbooks. There's sections to take notes next to every single slide from every single presentation. You can pause, rewind, fast forward in the comfort of your own home at your own pace. It is a brilliant resource that you'll come back to again. Victoria and Tasmania, have a wonderful long weekend. For those of you in Queensland, do take care and stay safe. If anyone, of course, is around Moomba over the weekend, I will have my Know Your Rights hat on. So if you find me out there round about in the crowds, do be sure to come and say hi. Otherwise, we'll speak to everyone again next Thursday night. Take care.